The MMO genre has been going through what seems like a drought over the past couple of years, with very little AAA MMOs being released. And if there have been, they were either released only in the East, or they spent a long time in early access. The days of getting a couple of AAA MMOs to drop every year might be over for a while, but that doesn't mean that they are gone. Smaller studios are putting their efforts into different types of MMOs that look to be more niche and interesting instead of trying to be that #1 MMO like World of Warcraft has been for well over a decade now. Sure, they want their game to be successful, if not the most successful. I mean, I would hope that they would look to be successful, but even more so, they can still be successful and do it in their own way. And that way can be in the avenue of virtual reality. What everyone said would be the future of gaming when it was starting to take over the gaming industry years ago at its inception. Years later, a lot has evolved with the technology. Pricing has gone down a bit, and now MMOs are starting to come out. One VR MMO saw a release that was official in April of 2019 with some success, but the first of the party are not always the most popular, and they often rush development in order to be that first person. So we bow our heads and we thank them for being the first, because we can look to the future of what other studios are looking to do with virtual reality MMOs. I'm going to show off 4 upcoming virtual reality MMOs, see if they look to deliver a unique game, and then I'm going to discuss a little bit my thoughts on the future for virtual reality MMOs. These are the new up and coming virtual reality MMORPGs. Inspired by anime and Japanese role-playing classics like Sword Art Online, Final Fantasy, and Chrono Trigger, amongst some other ones, Zenith is looking to deliver a cyberpunk-style virtual reality MMO. The art style is probably the most unique when it comes to the VR MMOs that have released, as well as the other ones that I will follow up with in this video. The post-apocalyptic environments saw some healing, as they say, throughout the world, so it's somewhere in between waste and wealth. They are currently going through pre-alpha stress tests because, as we know, virtual reality is still very, very young, so testing out the kinks are quite new. But what you can expect from the game is similar to what you would see in an already established PC or console MMO. You will create a character, you're going to choose its race, its class, and then you'll get to create your story. You can interact with other people in the world, in their large city hubs, and out in the world, and you can level up together, do dungeons, and other content like that. Sure, it is still early into their development, and they are quite a small team, but seeing how well that their Kickstarter did and absolutely smashed their original goal, it really showed them the demand of a game just like this for VR. They will also have player housing and transmog to help increase that immersion feel, if virtual reality within a cyberpunk world wasn't enough. The game looks like it's going to be quite enjoyable, and for me, like I said, I really think that the art style is amazing, especially from what they're drawing their inspiration and influence from. Elysia was recently announced to be releasing on Steam in 2020. The game is said to be a room-scale multiplayer online virtual reality RPG, which is a pretty funny way to say MMO without actually saying MMO. It's like they're afraid to claim it as an MMO because of the stereotypes for an MMO, but it is an MMO. They have all of the standard features for an MMO, like tons of quests, exploring large lands with other players, dungeons, world bosses, PvP mounts, pets, and unfortunately the dreaded daily quests, among some other things that are planned for the game. Where it looks to set itself apart from other virtual reality MMOs is with its sheer size of the world, as well as the player's movement. With every update will come a new kingdom to explore, which are supposed to be extremely large and contain these world bosses that are also known as guardians. The guardians are apparently hundreds of feet tall, and within them they somehow have dungeons and zones to explore. This actually sounds incredible because the immersion of MMOs really have needed something to take this sheer size of their game up a notch for quite a while now, and I think this sounds like a great way to do it. Also, I touch on the movement, and how the movement works in this game is you are pretty much free to explore with other players, being able to navigate throughout the environments by doing so, like climbing trees, rocks, buildings, jumping from ledge to ledge over gaps, and leaping into deep lagoons. Elysia is planned to release this year in some form, so hopefully we can see a lot more of it soon through its testing. Project Elysium sounds a bit like if GTA Online had more of a reality perspective tied into it. What I mean by that is you can do what you want in this server, but you also have the ability to use an economy to your control. Do you want to own tons of fast food restaurants to make yourself rich? Well, you can. The game has a dynamic economy, so you have the opportunity to become rich in a virtual world, or maybe even fail with investments. As far as the gameplay and its features go, well, you will create your character and you will choose a career for your character, such as a miner or a pilot. The game's setting is on a series of islands, each with their own biome and separate resources, which will play into the career choice that you choose. They want to give the player the freedom to do what they want, which is why I said it sounds a little bit like GTA Online. With everything being up to the freedom of the character, a lot of the server will be driven by its players. So I'm sure that you will see players robbing stores from the known rich players as a way to wage war with them. Or maybe you'll even see an entire server of 500 people working together to help each other strive for wealth, all the way from the miners and the taxi drivers up to the government workers. The game has been going through a slow process of stress testing with no official release date yet, but the game does look pretty cool, and I think with the economy it kind of gives this fresh take on a not only an MMO but definitely a virtual reality MMO. Archgate seems to be promising some of the heaviest features from the games on this list. First off, it is going to be a third-person virtual reality MMO rather than how most VR games that are in a first-person perspective, which I'm not actually sure how well it will work out for them or how much players will even enjoy it. Because the immersion of virtual reality, it comes when you are the one as the character, making all of the choices. As more of the testing goes on, we'll see how smooth this system is, but the other features that sound pretty crazy are having permadeath in certain regions, which we have seen done before, but it's usually based on a server. Also, they look to put difficulty on certain features that could take up to months, like they say solving a mystery that no one could get, or gaining political power. Once again, this has been claimed by developers before they release the game, so we will have to wait and see how it actually ends up working out. But the last thing that sounds pretty intense is that the developers are going to employ game masters that will have the ability to introduce unpredictable game content pretty much on the fly, which is shown in the trailer by way of spawning certain mobs into the game. To me, it kind of sounds like this could either go one of two ways. Either it's a complete mess, or it's quite underwhelming, and it's just pretty simple as to spawning maybe a couple of enemies into some defined spots. As much as I don't want to hate on the system, we'll have to see how it turns out. Honestly, we're gonna kind of have to wait to see how all these systems turn out, and not only individually, but how they work together. Not only is a virtual reality MMO pretty crazy for the time, but what they claim to be offering seems like a lot. They are looking to release the game in 2021, with testing going on all throughout this year. It's no doubt that when virtual reality was announced and it started to get large companies interested into investing for its future, that we would start to see more games eventually start to roll out. And it was only a matter of time that those games would be MMOs. Now, if we think about how early into the development of virtual reality we are, and even to go as far as artificial reality, then it's easy to understand how far we still have to go with the development for the games and for certain developers. It is impressive to even be at the point that it is at right now, and I'm sure eventually we will be getting the releases of some pretty big AAA MMOs where you can explore deep lands and have raids and in-depth PvP, but as the time being, it might not be everybody's tea as of right now. But I'm sure, like I said, once maybe even the graphics start to improve, boundaries get pushed, and we see unique gameplay elements introduced, that not only MMO fans will enjoy the future, but other gamers who want this immersive experience will also enjoy the future of the VR MMOs. We as MMO fans enjoy these games for the building of a character where you can connect with it, and that will only evolve when the immersion of virtual reality increases. Currently, you may not see these games as something that you can enjoy, but you definitely got to admit that they are impressive. Are you looking forward to these games or just VR games in general? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll catch you guys out in the next one.